Alright, we are up and running, theoretically. I'm going to start seeing what you're seeing in a second here on YouTube. Should double check to verify that was actually pointing at my face correctly. Hey, it is, but we are a little low on light, so let me go take care of that. And back. So, welcome back to Nerdologists and our Gandalf character creation for D&D, basically. So let's hop through and do a couple of things really quickly right now. Let's just get Gandalf's normal armor and weapons taken care of, since I forgot to do that last time. And he's just going to have normal leather armor is going to be what we give him. So that is 11 plus his Dex mod, which gives a nice armor class of 13. Not bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's kind of what you expect for a wizard. And then quickly to the quarterstaff. Nope, too far. Quarterstaff is, and we're going to just do quarterstaff 2, and then we also have to give him a sword as well. And we're going to give him a short sword. I know that he doesn't really use a short sword. I would say it's probably more a long sword in the movie. However, by giving him a short sword, we can use it as a finesse weapon. So it would be +4 to hit, and then 1d6 plus verify that I'm right on the short sword. Yeah, 1d6 plus our dex of 2. And then this is based off of strength, so it's going to be 1d8 minus 1 and 1d8 minus 1. And I'm also going to just give pluses for all of these things right now. Normally, if you started out playing somebody who's a wizard, you wouldn't necessarily have proficiency with both. The second one's supposed to be 1d6. You had the option to use it two-handed. Normally, what I was going to say, though, is you won't be playing someone who's already proficient with those, like we left that empty. However, we get proficiency when we jump into fighter, and so that's what I'm going to roll it off of. And I think we probably do get, like, some sort of proficiency: daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaff, and light crossbows. So we're just going to go simple melee weapons, armor. We're going to get those when we jump into fighter. However, first we're going to hit up a level 2 here. Level 2 gives us another first level spell to cast. We're actually going to run this up straight through level 4. So we're going to do all of this pretty quick. So we have a d6 plus 1, so 2, 8, and 2, 8, and 14. So we'll be at 21, and be at 4 there. The reason I wanted to just run it up quickly up to this point is this is where we get our first stat bump. So I'll actually be 1 higher, 22. We're going to stat bump con up to 14, which means it's a +2. And we're going to stat bump our strength to a straight 10, which is going to take it to 0, which will be nice for when we start becoming a fighter, that we don't have a negative to what we're doing. Also, let me double check. 4th level, we still haven't hit our we still haven't hit the proficiency boost. So we'll just bump that up to 0, and the con is up to +2 now. Because we don't have anything we have wisdom and intelligence based ones. That's too high then. You can kind of see it right there. Wisdom. The other three are intelligence based, which is kind of why I went with them. So we've done our stat bump. We're going to go back and get a few more spells from the back of the book, probably a couple second level spells and maybe another first. But we do get a pick at second level our Arcane Tradition. So Abjuration, magic that blocks, banishes, and protects. Conjuration, you can produce objects. Divination is the one that we're going to go with, kind of being able to see into the future a little bit. So it's easier for you to copy in divination spells now, or for Gandalf too. And we have Portent. After you finish a long rest, roll 2 d20s and copy the numbers. You can use them on attack, ability, saving throws. Before you roll. Or a creature you see rolls. This is basically, you can kind of tell that I'm theming Gandalf and his spell abilities towards damage and kind of being able to foretell the future a little bit. Like, that's what I've been going with in terms of the flavor of the spells I picked. So if we go back here, Light, Message, and True Strike, all of them make a lot of sense. Mage Armor, Shield, Comprehend Languages, Disguise Self, and Illusory Script. It's all kind of about that messaging, that sort of thing. So as we're going to add another, I should update the spell slots too. So we have 4 uses of this, 2 of this. So let's pull in a few more spells from the wizard. Let's do another first level one. We're going to go with Protection from Evil and Good. Good doesn't make a ton of sense, but evil I think flavors quite well. And then we have Alter Self, kind of continuing with that Disguise Self theme. And we'll also do Shatter. The reason I'm going with Shatter is this really plays into, like, this is what Gandalf cast when he said you shall not pass. Would make sense. And we'll also go with Enlarge, Reduce. I'm not sure really any of those qualify as divination spells, but I think it makes sense. Like at the beginning of The Lord of the Rings, when he basically intimidates, has his presence grow larger to, I believe, to get Bilbo to yeah, Bilbo to leave the ring behind for Frodo. This is when he does that. But now let's hop into Fighter. I don't think we actually could yet. So we're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to hop into Fighter. Because, so for multi-classing, basically anytime, and let me quickly do one thing here. So I have a D&D Beyond account. And with D&D Beyond, it is basically, I'll show you here, it's D&D's kind of online resource. It's still in the beta phase, but it's quite nice. I like it. And so you can then go here, click multi-classing. So instead of having to race through the book, click that. We can see with Fighter, well, I guess 13 strength or dex, and we go back to the first page here. We have 14 dex, so Gandalf can multi-class into Fighter right now, and it'll be just fine. Also going back to this, we have proficiency bonus. And so we get light, medium, shields, simple, and martial weapons. So I can update that to armor. Light, medium, and shields. And so as we go into Fighter here, we're going to see is that I'm going to run probably, I'm going to go straight to 8th level here. Since we've already built a Fighter, I'm going to talk about it some, but probably won't talk about it as much. I have my die roller here. And so we'll do the first 4, which will technically be 8, so we'll be +3. But we get to improve our hit die a lot for this. So, oh, thanks. Thanks, small child. I'm so glad you're here. Isn't she lovely? Kitten, 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 kitten. Bye. So, D10. I think I'm just going to keep Gandalf where he's at in terms of his con. So I'm just going to roll all 8. So 8 plus 16. Just do a fast roll here. Gotta add another 58, which I believe will take us to 80. I was going to say 70, but that's not right. 8d10. I'm not going to bump up his con anymore right now. It doesn't make that much sense. So the type of character that Gandalf is what's referred to as a Gish. Gish. D&D. A Gish is basically a magic user often will use their magical ability to help their own fighting. I mean, I can hop into this here, but it's a magic user skilled in physical combat and the use of magic. And that's the one that we're going with. So, we have that. We get a fighting style, second wind, action surge. So we'll hop down here. Second wind. Can use a hit die as an action on your turn. Action surge. And I will double check with that. Oh, as a bonus action. Nice. It technically words it a little bit differently. And you can't until delete D10 plus fighter level to regain hit points once per short long rest. Action surge. Take another action on top of your regular action. And again, this is once per short or long rest. We also get a fighting style. I would say protection makes the most sense thematically for Gandalf. However, protection fighting style requires that you use a shield, which Gandalf does not. Archery doesn't make sense. The defensive fighting style is what I'm going to go with. It just adds 1 to his AC. So I'm not even going to mark that down on the sheet. We're just going to go add that to it. And then we have extra attack. Let us know that we can attack twice. And then we have in there, let's double check, 4th, 6th, and 8th. We get stat bumps. And I'm going to quickly do it this way. We're going to take this up to 14 plus 2. That will take us to plus 5 technically, because we'll be at plus 3 now, if not plus 4, because we're technically level 12. Yeah, so we're plus 4, which is kind of nice. Plus 4 for that, plus 4 for that, plus 6 for that. Took that up. I'm going to take this up by 1. We're going to take his intelligence up 1 more time, and that means you become higher number. So 4 plus 4 is 8. Stat bumps. They're our friends. They just take a while to do. Int plus 8, and that becomes a plus 6. And charisma is a plus 3 now. But we're now successfully up on those ability scores, so we can look at the fighters, types of fighter that we have. We have the champion, the battle master, and the Eldritch Knight. The Eldritch Knight is a spellcasting class, but it didn't give us what we needed, and well, I guess it is basing it off of intelligence. We're actually going to go with champion fighter, because that gives us, again, that we got for Gimli, the improved critical on a 19 or a 20. So just better chances with that, and we're a remarkable athlete, so we can use half our proficiency on a strength, dex, or con check that you aren't already proficient with. We're not proficient with any of them, so it doesn't make a ton of sense to be called Remarkable Athlete, but half prof bonus on Dex, Strength, SDR, or Con checks. Get those numbers a little bit higher in there. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Gandalf's old, and so, like, I don't want to necessarily bump the strength, the dex, or the con up much higher than I have it already. However, it makes sense for kind of who Gandalf is, that he is proficient with them. Like, he's good at them, even though he isn't necessarily, like, he's old. So, like, acrobatics would now be a +4. Athletics would be a +2. There's no constitution skill check. But I believe... So you couldn't use them on a saving throw that's different than that, but if you're doing something like, okay, climbing something, or... like if he joined the drinking competition that Legolas and Gimli had, he could add that, because I would have you making con checks. I wouldn't have you making con saving throws, because saving throws are more spell-based, I would often say, or against some ability, versus a check is more checking to see how you do in a given situation where you're trying to do something versus where someone's trying to do something to you. So I'm looking at what I get here. I can pick up an additional fighting option. And that comes at level 10. The thing is, I probably want to run it up through level... Let's see what Indomitable is quickly. You can reroll a saving throw that you fail. Yeah, we're going to run it up through level 13. So that will take us up to level 17, technically, which means we're going to hit a +6 for this now. So I'm just jumping stuff up really fast here. A lot of it is because you have already seen it before. And so int, that's a 6, which takes that to a 10. That's really nice. And that's to an 8. Wisdom saving throws are probably the best to have your saving throw on. +10. Now let's zoom in a little bit more, so you can see it a little bit better. I don't like to zoom in a ton often, because then I end up blocking stuff. But in this case, I'm fine zooming in a little bit more. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to go back and update our spell save DC back here. One more page, buddy. So this is going to be out of your view a little bit. Sorry about that. So for the spell save DC, no, I think you can just barely see both. Attack bonus is simply a proficiency bonus plus your intelligence bonus, which means we have a nice attack bonus of 12. Granted, we have we don't have any attack spells besides Shatter, which I believe needs a save. Our spell save DC, though, is going to go up to 8 plus our proficiency of, we're going to level, what, 13, I said? Yep, 13. So that then grabs us so we're at level 17. Sorry, I'm trying to keep track. Level 17, so 8 plus 6 plus 4. So our spell save is 18 at this point for Gandalf. And you notice that I haven't really added any more spells to his list. As a wizard, you can learn more spells anytime. It's based around what you put in your book. But right now, I'm content leaving it at where it's at. I'll probably go back and finish off the last 3 levels at wizard. But let's go back here. Wrong thing. So we're going up to level 13. That's 5 more D10. So we're just going to go back here and roll again. I'm not going to bump up. So that's only going to be a 10 there. I'm not going to bump up his con. So 47 more. That's so much better than the other one. You can see the numbers there. 47 more is 127. And we get a bump up. Let's see, we get at level 12. Well, level 11 we get extra attack. X2. Get 2 extra attacks. We also get Indomitable. We get 2 uses of it. If we remember what Indomitable does, basically you can re-roll a saving throw. That you fail. Resets after a long rest. So we have two uses of that. It's going to be useful. We're going to continue to bump scores here, and we're going to actually take the charisma up another level. He is generally the face of the party, and we can remove the negative sign from our strength. There's no need for -0. 8. So we're at 13. Added 5 more, that's what I was trying to do. 13. Plus 6, that's never going up again. We do get another fighting style. And we're going to go with dueling. When you use a weapon one-handed, gain +2 bonus damage from that weapon, which seems fitting, I would say. So, like, since I'm not dumping stats heavy into dex and strength and con, why am I sticking with fighters so long? One of the big reasons is I want this bump here to the hit points. Gandalf is not weak. He's actually going to have a really good armor class a lot of the time with his armor that he can use, or his spells, I should say. And I can go and talk about those quickly as we wrap up right now for today. So the 2 that I'm going to talk about quickly, and why it kind of makes sense, is the first being mage armor. Somewhere in here. Mage armor. Our AC becomes 13 plus our dex modifier, so that takes us up to 15, plus we're still defensive, which takes us up to 16. 16's pretty good. And then we have shield. And shield, if I remember correctly, is +4 to your AC for a round. Basically, you can use it as reaction, so you only use it when you really need to. +5, so you can get up to a 21 between the two of those things, bumping up your armor class. Gandalf isn't supposed to be necessarily that great a fighter. He bolsters, and then he's kind of more just the face of things that and kind of control things, which is, if you look at a number of the spells that I took here, True Strike is probably the most offensive spell, and if I remember correctly, possibly the most offensive spell in a couple different ways. True Strike. You extend your hand and point a finger at a target in range. Your magic grants you brief insight into the target's defenses. On your next turn, you gain advantage on your first attack roll against the target, provided the spell hasn't ended. It basically is just a concentration spell that lasts for a round. But when you have a 19 and 20 for your crit, even with a short sword, it does some damage, and it makes it easier. But Gandalf isn't necessarily supposed to be fighting tons. I'd have to. It's been a little while since I've seen the Lord of the Rings movies and read the books, so I'd probably have to look at them or look through them again to see kind of what else Gandalf might do. But we are gonna finish off next Tuesday, because this Thursday I'll be back with more creating another campaign option using some less common monsters, but we're gonna get all the way up to level 7, so we do have a 4th level spell slot at that point, as well as some other spell slots. So we'll add some 3rd level spells in, some 4th level spells, and we also get expert divination, so beginning at 6th level, casting divination spells comes easily to you that it expends only a fraction of your spellcasting efforts. When you cast a divination spell of 2nd level or higher, regain 1 expended spell slot. The spell, or the slot you regain, must be a level lower than the spell you cast, and can't be higher than a 5th level spell. It probably will be useful when we look at the spell list, and I kind of go over what I'm going to pick. But one nice thing is then you'll be able to sync all your 2nd level spells, use them on Shatter or Alter Self or Enlarge. I actually don't think any of those are divination. Probably should find a divination one. We can look. I'm sure there might even be. So if they have spells on here. Spells, wizard, 3rd level spells. I want to show the advanced filters here, because I'm hoping, oh, it's not there yet. Spell school, divination. I'm going to filter the spell list here. Clairvoyance and tongues. So we'll probably add clairvoyance in. Let's even add in 2nd level spells, so we can filter those in. I'll probably grab second level one. Detect thoughts. Maybe locate object would make sense. Simply that would allow you to cast your higher level spells, second and third level spells, and even let's hop to fourth here. Filter spells. Locate creature. Definitely going to have that one. So we can find Shadowfax, or Shadowfax can find him. There's also Arcane Eye, but I don't think we'll give that to him. Nope. But that will then... You can then spend all those things to basically keep your AC high and consistently give you lower level spell slots. Is what we're going to be looking for with that. Anyways, with that, I have been Petter from Nerdologists, and